Okay.
I believe that was what.
All right, so let's discuss the $1,800. I would have preferred that some of you would have called me instead of having this detective work behind my back. Let me explain it to you, and then we can talk about it. The $1,800 was generated for 1 year of cell phone service from my company. My company really doesn't exist anymore, and and I paid for those personally. And so I paid $1,800 this past year. And then in looking at my records, I've been here almost 7 years. If I took, and I was happy to do this, by the way, and Stephanie will tell you that, if I took the city reimbursement, Stephanie, $62, is that right?
Currently, we're paying $62.50.
Okay, so $62.50 a month, where my company charges $125, which I can't afford. And also, there's a phone purchase, right? Stephanie, how much is that?
They're usually between $150 and $250, depending on the phone.
Or let's call it $200. So you have to buy a new phone every 2 years, right?
Depends on the contract, I guess. Usually people get new.
All right, well, just leave it at the $62.50. So if I applied that for 7 years, that would be over $5,000. And I spoke to Stephanie about it, and I think Joe Wade also was informed, Stephanie?
The email was sent to Joe
Right.
that you
He
want.
never contacted me. I wish he would have.
Well, the email you sent to Joe,
Right.
asking if you could get reimbursed.
Right.
I was CC'd on it, and I said, as long as Joe approves it, it would be added to the agenda.
All right, and he did approve it. He signed off on it.
Yes.
So backing up, 7 years at $62 would be well over $5,000. I said, look, what we'll do from here on, pay me the $1,800, which is 1 year for my company, and from now on forward, we'll go to $62.50, whatever it is. And if there is a phone to be bought, I'll need that phone also. So that's what that's all about. Questions, please?
I have a question.
Yes.
So are we eligible for cell phone reimbursement if we're
Yeah.
using our cell phone for city business?
It doesn't matter. If I make one phone call, I get the same, and so do you, the same charge for cell phone usage. The package charge for cell phone usage.
Okay.
I make about 80 to 90 calls. Well, it was 40 this weekend, so I get a lot of calls.
I mean, I know I'm on my phone for it. I just wasn't aware that the city offered reimbursement to any of us for
Yeah.
cell phones.
Yeah. The last,
Or what the
last that was
procedure
written was for Alderman Ludwigson in, someone tell me, '07. Is that what you see here?
Yeah, 2007.
2007. At that point, he was being reimbursed, the mayor was being reimbursed. I can't speak for the councilman. I don't know the answer to that. At $40 in '07. Now, our city package costs $62 per person, as Stephanie told you. And that's what I'm looking for future reimbursement. And the old reimbursement, I'm not going to go back, charge $62 for 7 years, or 40 for 5 years, whatever it is. I just want to be paid for that 1 year, and I'll go forward with the city phone and the city reimbursement.
Sir, correct me if I'm wrong, but you said that your company was paying for the phone?
No, I
Until-
didn't, you know, here. If you notice the bills, I can clearly tell you that I personally pay for the phones at my company. Personally. And have for a lot of years. But my company is virtually done. I'm still overstocked and I'm still with the company. The company was, do you have any condo sales in mind? There are none. So that was my business with it. All right, any other questions? Suggestions? Tell me what to do.
I have no problem with it. The only thing is a lot of issues have come up with bills and them ending up on warrants. This is going to the council budget, which I have no problem with. It's more, I'm all in favor of doing a resolution to do that. When that happened to me in '07, that was at a time when there were no minute packages. You know, I spend, I think, $220 for 5 cell phones, all iPhones. You know, the kids won't have anything but that.
Right.
But I think the thing that took me back the most about it was the cost per month. Anybody paying $180 a month for a cell phone?
No,
a single cell phone?
125. It's 125.
125?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's our entire corporation. That's what the individuals pay for, unless they have an agreement as part of their
Yeah, I
salary.
think it was more the amount. I have no problem with a resolution if Mike wants to put a resolution together to do that, but it kind of has to be by that because there's no other mechanism to do it.
All
So
right.
I'm good with that.
But keep in mind, it's seven years, it's not 2 weeks.
Right, and when they did it for me, the previous mayor did not want to do it at all. And, I mean, I didn't go back and get it over time. It was more happened when I got my first cell phone bill and realized when you were on the phone for 600 minutes,
Yeah.
you pay for every minute. Not like
Right.
now where it's all
Now we get
inclusive.
packages, right?
So I have no problem doing that with a
All right,
resolution.
thank you. Any other questions?
Sir, I have no problem with the reimbursement moving forward at the 6250. I fail to see why we would go back.
Why wouldn't you?
Where do you get 14 months from? I mean, you're going back to the
14
beginning of
months,
the term,
it's
not to
7
mention-
years.
No, not 7 years, sir.
I
You're
started
going
7
back-
years ago.
Let me say my piece. We're
You
going
have the
back-
floor, Alderman, go ahead.
Going back 14 months to the beginning of the term, correct?
No, I don't understand your question.
We're going back to May of 2015. Is that the beginning of the term, or is that the beginning of?
No, that's
Last fiscal-
1 year's bills, 12 months' worth of bills, which we have copies of.
Okay. Well, I have no
Or
issue
14
with the 6250 going forward. I don't see any reason to purchase a phone. I think this is your personal cell phone. You're getting city reimbursement for partial usage,
Right,
and I don't see
and
any.
I don't want another phone. I'm not asking for another phone. I'm
Well,
asking,
eventually you will.
why are you so, you're belligerent? I mean, what do you want to argue?
I do want to argue
you're-
this because I don't believe it's
You're
right.
43 years old. I know you've got a great education in Michigan. Why do you want to argue with your mayor? Michigan State? You have a degree from Michigan State,
Michigan
right?
State. Nonetheless,
You have a degree from Michigan State.
yes,
So you're a
nonetheless.
schooled individual. You're 43 years old? You know how old I am? Don't ask.
Again, I see this as deflection. I don't. know how
No,
this
there's no deflection. You're trying to beat
conversation
me
at all.
up, and it irritates me. So go ahead.
I'm irritated by the submission of $1,800
Really?
bills when you say, why don't you come to me instead of doing this
Yes,
investigation?
you're
Why
all
don't you
around,
come to your
all around.
council and say, hey, I'd like to submit $1,800 worth of bills, okay? My company, we reimburse $50 per month for a personal cell phone, okay? $6,250, I think, is a fair number. You're going back and asking for $135 a month.
That's not true. It's not
That's
true at
what it
all.
equates to.
It's not true at all. My point is that I paid the $1,800 every year for 7 years, and all I'm asking for is 1 year's reimbursement. That's it.
Right, you paid the $1,800 for 7
Every-
years for
you would
your
multiply
personal
it.
cell phone, which you used partially for city business. Now, you've talked for months now about how we need to cut costs. We need to reduce the attorney's hours so that we can go back and save $6,000. And
Oh, this relates to an attorney. I didn't know that.
this has nothing to do with the
Well,
attorney.
sure,
This
you're
has-
using that example.
Again, a classic example of more deflection.
Right. I agree.
I am not in favor of this at all.
Well, that's
Moving forward,
obvious.
I would be happy to give you
All right.
$6,250 a month.
Can I just comment? I think it's 135 per month. Right. If you take 1893.02.
Divided by 14, it's 135.
135.
Was asking.
Okay, that's 1 year's reimbursement. That's what I'm looking for. Not 7 years.
Yeah, it's 135 a month.
And I guess my fear would be is that everyone that's eligible could come back and say, I mean, Pat Scott, how long have you been here? They come back, we want 20 years reimbursement for cell phone.
They should.
They should.
I'm sure the mayor puts in much more time than anyone else.
But we didn't ask you.
emails, phone calls.
Okay, I'm going to give my time.
Yeah, you're an elected official, you can talk. You had to go out and get votes and signatures.
I mean, I don't have a problem with reimbursement, but I think it's kind of a shock to see it go back for 14 months when most people would see it going like forward and monthly and having to submit a reimbursement or whatever paperwork each
Right.
month.
That was dumb on my part, absolutely. I should have asked for reimbursement from day one.
I don't know.
Sure you do.
Let's go watch the debate.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I just want to know, are we then, as elected officials, entitled to reimbursement for our,
I don't know.
partial reimbursement for our cell phones?
Maybe Alderman
This is the first
Ludwigson
time
can
hearing
answer that.
about it.
I don't think so, I don't know.
I've never thought about it, and I figured what I use, I'm paying a flat fee, and whatever it is.
I get 40 to 50 calls and at least close to that many
Right.
emails every 2 weeks.
So is there a policy that we get?
I don't
reimbursed?
know.
Okay.
I think it's reserved to the mayor.
The only thing that I'm aware of, Alderman, is in 2007, then Mayor Ludwigson asked the council for a council stipend of $40 a month, and that there was a resolution adopted on a moving forward basis, and it was at $40 a month. So
So is there
So that's
anything
on the
in
books
place
then, that
for the
way?
mayor to be reimbursed?
not right now, no.
Okay, so right now, there's nothing in place for any of us to get reimbursed for anything, including the mayor.
Correct. You could, the mayor has essentially submitted a bill. The council can either approve the bill, reject the bill, come to some other agreement on what the amount would be for the past. Council can also adopt a resolution for future reimbursements. You've got a lot of options for what you want to do.
Well, I think regardless of what gets decided on this tonight, I think as far as the current submission, I think we need to decide what should be procedure going forward. How much is going to be reimbursed, who's eligible, what the process is there an expense reimbursement form that needs to be filled out and submitted each month? And if it's not submitted, then you forfeit your right to that month's reimbursement. I think we should have some sort of procedure in line, especially an amount that we agree to reimburse monthly. And if it's only the mayor, or if it's the other alderman, if it's a different fee schedule for others who are using their phone for city business.
At the city level, who gets reimbursed? Alderman Williamson, you checked this out, or had someone check it out with other municipalities. Somebody must have an answer. What's happening elsewhere?
I just did preliminary research, sir, just on my own. I wasn't asked by any of the elected officials. Primarily, and this is just going by the information I was able to get off of the Northwest Municipal Conference's survey. They survey all municipalities when a municipality wants information. From the information I've gathered, mayors are generally given a stipend, aldermen are not. As far as staff, it's generally more for staff. $62.50 is right in the wheelhouse of everybody else. It goes anywhere from $60 to $100 for department heads and a staff that is pretty much expected to be on call 24 hours a day. So they would need their cell phone for both phone calls and for emails that are sent with village business or city business.
Peter, not to put you on the spot, but you fall under that category. Are you reimbursed monthly?
No, I'm not. I use my cell phone in past, I've used 2 cell phones. I just absolutely hate cell phones. I don't want to carry 2. So I currently use my personal cell phone. But I am not reimbursed.
So if you use a second cell phone, you would be reimbursed, correct?
Generally what happens, and I don't want to step on Stephanie's toes or anybody else's toes, you either would get a city cell phone, which I believe Administrator Wade does have a city cell phone, and then everything is covered, of course, the cell phone, and then the monthly rate for that or the monthly cost. Or if you chose your own cell phone, to use your own cell phone, you would get the $62.50 stipend a month.
And if you have a city cell phone, the upgrades and everything apply to you. The city will pay for the telephone upgrade. Outside of that, it's just a stipend of $62.50 per month.
Correct. If you have the city cell phone,
Alone on your own policy.
Correct. If you have the city cell phone, there's no cost to the department head. If you do choose to keep your cell phone and not go with the city cell phone, that's when the $62.50 stipend
Okay,
kicks in.
being as we're a small city, and we have a small budget, I would like to operate at the lower end of that. And I think the $62.50 is plenty as a stipend for a cell phone.
And I don't want to misspeak again, but I believe that $62.50 dollar amount was derived by, that's the cost that the city would incur if you were on the cell phone plan. So if you were given a cell phone, your plan would be $62.50 a month to use your cell phone, to use your city cell phone. So if you're keeping your cell phone, that's where the $62.50 comes in. Does that make sense, or is that confusing?
I understand what you're saying. Thank you. We can hear you over here, Larry. Larry, your mic's on.
What?
Your microphone's on.
I didn't hear a word.
Hers is on.
I don't care.
So there we have it. We have a question, yes.
To me, it seems like we've got two issues. One, we have a request for reimbursement, and secondly, we have the question of whether or not we want to institute some kind of policy. I think the two are not joined, they should be separate. So I would move that we provide the reimbursement to Mayor Helmer as he requested.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, roll call, please.
Alderman Rosenthal.
Aye.
Alderman Messer.
Aye.
Alderman Dollar.
Aye.
Alderman Ludwigson.
Nay, because I think you're doing the full amount, not just the $62.50.
Alderman Williamson.
Nay, I echo Alderman Ludwigson's
Motion
comment.
passes 3-2. What about the monthly situation going forward?
For purposes of a motion, I move that we consider establishing a policy of providing, what is it, $62.50 a month reimbursement. I'm going to just say for the mayor.
Second
And it
to
can
the,
be, and the intent of this motion is, you don't have to have the city cell phone. You get a maximum reimbursement of $62.50 with or without
Right.
that.
because if I chose a city phone, I'd have to carry two phones, which I don't
That's
like.
correct.
And a city would have to buy the phone, which would be more cost.
And people, at least in my opinion, don't like to carry multiple cell phones
No.
anymore.
We have a motion, we have a second. Did we have a second?
I didn't hear a second.
Second.
Any other discussion on that? $62.50, simple stipend, monthly basis, and no second phone, et cetera. Upgrades would be my cost.
Mr. Mayor, instead of doing this is a Band-Aid, because what we're doing is doing it for your term. Mike, can this resolution, or can we create an ordinance so that we do it going forward, so the office holds the regular reimbursement amount that's valid at the time, so it goes forward, so we don't have this happen again?
Right,
What was your motion?
Well, I made a motion. If I would agree with Alderman Ludwigson, let's just settle this now, and if I move that we create an ordinance for it,
That's
if
what
I
you said.
add that to the
Right.
motion.
I was going
fine.
to suggest a resolution, but if you,
Or whatever the verbiage is.
Yeah, for resolution.
So it's permanent.
yeah, it'd be a permanent resolution, it would speak to the office of the mayor. The last one just was talking about the acting mayor back in '07, so it would be an update to the '07 resolution.
That it's permanent, is this?
Yes.
Is it,
Be
okay.
permanent.
Until changed by some future council.
Right. Right.
Do we need a motion for that, or we just ask you to do the
I thought
resolution and?
We had a
resolution?
motion while.
Yeah, I mean, the motion effectively is to direct the staff to prep that resolution. Right, Alderman?
Yes, that's my intent.
And mayor only?
Mayor only.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Further discussion, if none, we can take the roll.
Okay. Alderman Messer.
Aye.
Alderman Dollar.
Aye.
Alderman Rosenthal.
Aye.
Alderman Ludwigson.
Aye?
Alderman Williamson.
Motion passes 5-0.
Is there any way to make anything official that says going forward, you can't submit past bills for reimbursement, only for current and future?
Can't submit what?
past bills. So like going forward, let's just make it
Well,
clear.
just for process, Alderman, the mayor, there'll be a check that should be approved by the council every month, because it has to be for reimbursement, because the mayor's compensation can't go up during his term, so it has to be an expense reimbursement. So it should continue to appear on the warrants. And then as far as past bills, my recommendation on that would be you take those on a case-by-case basis. So for instance, you may find it appropriate to approve a past bill. All you need to do is vote no if you find it appropriate to deny it.
Okay,
That way you don't lock council in for every situation.
I wanted to block every situation.
Just as a point of clarification, are you talking about a past bill, meaning a past fiscal year?
Like meaning anything previous, like, because this was from 14 months ago.
Right.
So I just don't like seeing things, a year ago I did this, I want reimbursed for it. I don't like that process.
So what if somebody said, we're in September now, so what if somebody presents, a future mayor presents a bill for reimbursement that is from the beginning of our fiscal year to September, which would be whatever that terminology is. Should the person submit monthly? Is that what you're saying?
Right. And
There's
I mean, now it
there's
should be
nothing to
monthly
submit.
now going forward because the resolution is going to
Hold
Hold on,
be.
there's nothing to submit because it's a stipend.
Right, okay.
But it has to be used for, it's very important to note, and the resolution will note it, that it has to be used for cell phone purposes.
But if someone were to submit something for something else, I mean, my just thing is I just don't want to see anything in the future coming up for this long ago
All right,
from anybody.
all right, we've got all the points down. Mr. Administrator.